You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Independent Waters. I am your host, Mikey Manfredi, and joining me, as always, is the other host of this show, Zach, the show Batista. Zach, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing good. I'm fucking pumped right now, even though it is early. It's fucking the morning.
Yeah, it is. I'm super stoked as well because we have a very special guest on the podcast today. We have Marty Snow from PWL. Marty, how you doing, my man?
Hello. I'm doing all right. Pretty tired, but we're here. We're live.
Yeah, we're live. We're podcasting. Everyone's here listening. Marty, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. Listen, when you bought one of our shirts, there was no other choice I had. It was so cool to us that I was looking through the orders and I was like, what?
Oh yeah, I saw the shirt and I was like, this is a pretty cool shirt. Let me go ahead and support.
Hey.
Thanks.
We did the buying and then we got the message and I honestly didn't expect it. I just wanted to buy the shirt. You know, I was just a happy customer buying it.
Well, yeah. Now here we are. I just sent it. I just got it to the post office yesterday, so it should be out for delivery soon.
Perfect.
So hopefully it'll be in your hands sooner rather than later. Barring any shipping issues.
Yeah.
Should be the post office these days.
Oh yeah, who knows, man? It's been a mess, but that's just the world right now, and we'll be fine. So Marty, we've just been we've had some questions to go over. Obviously, we want our first question to be how did you get into wrestling? Like, what got you into wrestling? Like, how did you start?
Oh man, so. It's not a very exciting story, so I'm sorry about that. But it was basically me and my brother, we were staying up late at night and we couldn't find anything to watch. So we were just skipping through channels.
Mm-hmm.
And a little man came into our TV screen and we were very surprised by seeing such a little man. Mm-hmm. That little man turned out to be Hornswoggle. And we were in the middle of a match where DX was in there. I don't remember the opponents, but Hornswoggle was there.
Yes.
And that's what captured our oh my god, there's a little guy in there. How is that possible? And then we just started to do our research and we're like, okay, so this is called Raw. Okay, we'll start watching it. And then I wouldn't say I got into it properly until we realized that there was another show called SmackDown. Mm-hmm. And it was in the middle of how Edge returned from his injury and he just won the Royal Rumble. So nice. Edge was the one that captured my attention. I was like, okay, I like this wrestling stuff. Let me continue. And ever since then, I was just more of a SmackDown guy, really.
Mm-hmm. SmackDown's the best show. Don't at me.
Yeah.
SmackDown's always been my favorite too. It's because SmackDown's always had for me, SmackDown's always had Jeff Hardy on it, and Jeff Hardy was my favorite.
It had so many. Eddie, it had Edge, it had Angle. It was God, love that. Edge, good choice. Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers ever. I love Edge.
Edge is great.
Edge specifically.
I used to have an Edge shirt. I was Edge for Halloween one year. I remember I had the Edge shirt. I got a wig, and I did
You just hear, you think you know me, just faintly playing in the background.
Oh yeah, me and my friend would always geek out about that song.
Such a good song, man. Jesus,
really is. So how did you get into like training and stuff? I know SmackDown and Raw got you kind of into wrestling, mostly SmackDown, but what got you into training? Like what you made the transition from like being a fan to wanting to be like in it, you know?
So that's always been something that I've wanted to do. Since I saw Edge, like I saw it and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. But of course, parents being parents are like, nah, it's just a phase. Like you'll get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to that. I was like, all right, fair enough. I'm still kind of young, so maybe it'll just morph into just being a fan again. But in my second year of university, I was just like laying in my bed, and I was like, do I really want to be in college? Like, it doesn't really seem like my type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I could be doing something better. And that's where the Pro Wrestling Sen, now Legacy, tryouts happened. That's where I met Gmo. That's where I met most of the guys that are currently wrestling at Pro Wrestling Legacy. And yeah, the rest is history. I just saw the ad of there were going to be tryouts. And since I'd never seen any wrestling in El Paso, I was like, all right, this seems like my opportunity. And we took it, and I haven't stopped since.
Yes, that's awesome. So sometimes it's like that one tryout can change everything, right? Like that's so cool.
Wrestling Legacy has put out some great fucking matches.
Yeah, it's definitely some great stuff from Pro Wrestling Legacy. Like we've reviewed a couple of matches on the show, and they've all been great. And one of them was yours, obviously. That's how we got here, right? Like,
right.
But yeah, PWL's had some awesome stuff since we've started watching. I was watching through one of their pay-per-views the other day. I forgot which one it was, but all of it was like what I was seeing was like solid, awesome wrestling, and I was definitely into it. Speaking of PWL, how did it feel to be in the first ever PWL title match?
Oh man, it was throughout that whole day I kind of just like it didn't hit me. I was just there like, it's just another show. It's not a big deal. Oh, but like the moment I like got through the curtain, it was just like, oh crap, like this is this whole
big.
The weight just came crashing in.
Yeah, because me and Cosmo have had that match 3 times. So to me, it was like I know him. Like this isn't gonna be any different. But man, just like the crowd was so different, the atmosphere, the stakes, it was just so different. And I enjoyed that match. It is my favorite match that I've had so far. And I hate saying it because I shouldn't be saying nice things about Cosmo. I should be. Yeah, if he's listening, that match is my favorite match of all time.
Cool. We'll make sure if he asks, we'll make sure to tell him that you hate him and that you want to fight him again.
You're better than him in every way possible. So if we're talking about Pro Wrestling Legacy, this is a question that I had. How did you come up with the name Marty Snow?
Okay, so it's okay. I would say it's not too creative, but at the same time, I guess it is kind of creative. So, there was a girl in my high school that, in another high school that instead of calling me Martin, because I guess I was too hard to say, she just called me Marty. And I just stuck to it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm Marty now. And Snow came from trying to come up with a character. I knew that being a good guy wasn't really my thing. Like I felt that I was more arrogant, more cocky, and I was seeing a lot of shows, reading a lot of books, and the guy that inspired my whole persona is called Ramsay Snow from Game of Thrones. So I was like, okay, let me take Snow. What makes Ramsay such a despicable character? Okay, he's a bastard. Okay, well, we can probably go into it since I didn't get that scholarship. Okay, now it can be arrogant, now it can be cocky. And then, yeah, it just came from that. From a girl calling me Marty and one of my characters from Game of Thrones being called Snow. And I was like, okay, Marty Snow. Sounds legit.
I remember back in the days when I watched Game of Thrones all the time, Ramsay is as you said, a complete bastard.
Speaking of bastards, how So what? Like, how did you were obviously part of the faction Inglorious Bastards in PWL? How did that come to be?
Oh man, that faction, I kind of had to push for it because I had proposed that faction like long, long ago.
Mm.
Um, but because we were going into the Cosmo match, they were like holding off on it. And they were like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet. And the two guys that I have currently, Super Flash and Midas, I just saw them one day at practice, and I saw how smooth they were, and I saw how good they were, and I was like, okay, let me talk to management. Let me see if I can get something here. And I told them like, just give me these two guys, and we'll be good to go. And I've had people who told me like, you know what, like at first we really weren't sure about this faction, but man, like you guys proved us wrong, and hopefully it stays stronger. I don't like factions just being made just because. I feel like
Mm.
it's a very cheap cop out. So hopefully this faction, every member is important. I don't like the whole, oh, they're gonna be the Mario Jannetty. Like, no, I want everyone to be the Shawn Michaels, not just
Mm.
two guys and then one guy's just forgotten about because everyone in there is so talented.
It must feel nice to have your plan like come to fruition and then actually like really get its like what's the word, find its own like success.
Oh yeah, I was so happy. Like when I got the green light, I was just so happy. I was like, all right, let's go. I'm
Fucking go. Get hyped.
That's awesome.
So me and Mikey have a bit of a history with our interviewees. We asked them a bit of a question that we find is fun as a fun time. What are some underrated food spots that you have in El Paso?
underrated food spots.
Yeah,
Oh,
like some spots like no one's ever heard of before, but like they need to go try.
oh God, this is gonna be hard because I'm a basic guy, so I go to like the places that everyone's been. But I think the one place that like I don't think a lot of people go to, or maybe they do, and I just don't know. It's called Kinley's Coffee Place, and I go there almost every day. They have such good smoothies, such good coffees, and then they have like little like I guess like cupcakes and empanadas and all that good stuff.
Ooh.
So
Hmm.
I
Yum.
take everyone there. If they're like, oh well, you choose, I'm like, all right, we'll go to this place. And a
Sounds like
lot
it
of
has
my
it
friends
all.
haven't gone. Yeah, it's such a good place, such a good place. So if you guys are ever in town, I will happily take you guys there.
Oh, we love
Thanks.
to go. I love coffee places. I love coffee in general, and I love all kinds of food. So I'm down to try literally anything.
Oh, it's the best place. So much better than Starbucks, and I will die by that comment.
What's your go-to order there?
Ooh, man. Okay. I know I just said that I love coffee, but my go-to order there is like a strawberry smoothie with a sandwich. I don't remember its name. I think it's like the green chili or something like that.
Hmm.
It has green in it, so it's something of that sort.
Something hot, something green.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
I love smoothies. Smoothies are like my thing to make every morning if I have time to do so before work. Like,
Oh, let's go.
And I love sandwiches, so here we are.
yeah, everyone's
We've been talking a lot about wrestling. What we want to know, like outside of wrestling, what's the latest thing that you've really gotten into? Like in terms of like a hobby, if it's a hobby, a video game,
Oh,
something that you just that's like getting you excited. That's not just wrestling.
well, I'm about to look like the biggest geek in the world because my life has been consumed by Elden Ring. It's a video
ooh,
game
I've
that
been
just came
meaning to
out.
play that. Everyone's been telling me it's so good.
Oh
I
man,
know
it
everyone's
is
saying it.
it is so good. The game is so good. I'm a huge fan of the Souls games. I've passed Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
Oh
I haven't
man,
played Bloodborne, but I passed Sekiro.
ah,
Sekiro's probably like my favorite game of all time.
Sekiro's so good.
Oh, but Elden Ring is just so good, and it's so weird because like anyone who sees me playing it, they're like, "You hate this game, don't you?" Because I'm like yelling at the bosses. I'm like, "No, it's bullshit. Like, how did you hit me?" But no, I actually love it. They're like, "Don't you hate the game? I always see you like mad and everything. It's like, oh no, that's just part of like the Souls experience. You know,
Yep.
if you're not getting mad, if you're not getting frustrated, you're not really playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not raging, what's the point?
Classic Dark
Exactly.
Souls experience.
So-
Fight boss, rage, die, eventually beat boss, be super fucking happy you beat boss.
Yeah, there you
So-
go.
So my issue is that I've never played a game like that. Like, I've never gotten into like Dark Souls or Bloodborne
So
or
good.
like Sekiro or anything like that. But everyone's been like, yeah, try Elden Ring, and I'm like, I don't know. I've never like played anything like that, so like I don't know if I should get into it. But every time somebody talks about it, it just makes me want to get into it more because
So
apparently it's just amazing.
everyone says it's amazing,
so
dude.
amazing. It's so amazing. I would be nice, and I would be the one to recommend you. If you haven't played a Souls game, start by Dark Souls 1, just so you know what you're getting into. Because I think that's like the most simplest game out there right now.
Mhm.
Well,
But if
yeah,
you're a
probably.
brave soldier and you want to be like all macho man, you can dive into Elden Ring and just hope for the best.
I think that might honestly, I think just diving in and crossing my fingers might be the moves.
All right, we'll see.
just to try it out, you know. But yeah, we're huge video game nerds around here too.
That's good.
Bloodborne, Sekiro, I fucking love those games, dude. Bloodborne was my first one of the Souls game, and then I went to Sekiro, and I was just like, I love Souls games.
Oh,
Also, are those pop figures I see in the back?
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Pop figures. I have so many pop figures,
Oh.
and it is a problem that I have. Oh, that's great. It is a problem that I have because there's times where I just go out to a place and I'm like, I'm not gonna spend money. I'm not gonna spend money. And then I see a pop figure and I'm like, but I don't have him, so he could really look really good in my collection right now. So I just buy it, and then I come home and my brother's like, "You got another pop figure?" It's like, "Yeah."
Yeah. That's awesome. Pop figures. I've only heard either people love pop figures or people hate pop figures. Like, there's no in between. No one's like, yeah, I kind of like pop figures. It's like, you love them or you don't. Like, that's it.
Exactly. You either love them or you don't, and I don't know. They're like, there's nothing special about them, but I just like them. Like, I just see them and I'm like, I need to buy them. I need all of them.
They're just fun to collect. It's like trading cards, or it's
Exactly.
just stuff that's fun to get, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Gotta collect them all, baby.
So we wanted, and this is another question. What's the weirdest match that you've ever seen or been a part of? And what's the strangest idea you've ever gotten pitched backstage?
Oh my god, those are so many questions, and I will go one by one.
Let's do it.
The strangest thing that I've ever seen in a match, and some of my colleagues at Pro Wrestling Legacy will know exactly what match I'm talking about. I'm not gonna name the wrestlers because I'm probably gonna get in trouble, and I don't want to
Totally
give them
okay.
too much- and I don't want to give them too much publicity, but it was the worst I Quit match that I've ever seen in my life. The match was super slow. The moves were very ineffective. Like, you would see like someone punch them, and it wasn't like big, like, there you go. It was more of like, there you go.
Oh
And you were just
no!
like, oh no. And then the ref didn't help the match because like the ref wanted to get over by himself. Like, they would be like, oh, ref, ask him. And then the guy would be like, hell no. And you're like, oh, okay, he's firing it up. And the ref would be like, he said hell no. And it was like, oh man, you don't have to intervene. And then, oh man, I'm sorry if I'm getting like frustrated, but just remembering the match, it just eats in my soul. And
Okay.
oh man, there was this one spot that they were gonna use handcuffs, and if you use them, you would like try to put them so your opponent can't like leave anywhere.
Yeah.
This guy just like his arms like right in the ropes, and like he just handcuffed him. But like in theory, the guy could have just like gotten his hands up, stepped away, and been free. But no, the guy stayed there, and it didn't help that they were whipping him. And it was just like, you can move at any time. You know that, right? Like, you don't have to stay there, man. And oh man, just remembering that match, it's probably the worst match that I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of bad matches.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And oh man, like I joked around yesterday, and I said that seeing that match wanted me like it just made me rethink about like, do I really want to be a wrestler? Like,
Oh.
if that's the thing that I have to do, like, do I really want to? But yeah, that's been the worst match that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other question?
I'm gonna say you saw that handcuff spot and you were like, I could do better, and then you did your 3 stages of hell match.
Exactly. Like when I saw the handcuff spot and I was like, okay, I'm using the handcuffs. I didn't want to mess it up. Like, if I messed it up, I had like nothing to say. Like if I messed the handcuff spot, I wouldn't have said anything in the world. I would have like apologized. I would have gone to the wrestlers, been like, hey, your match 5-star. Like, I'm sorry.
Should I talk? Sorry, we good. We good.
Yeah, exactly. So like when I saw that I didn't mess it up, I was like, okay,
Great.
I can talk all the stuff that I want.
And the other question was, what's the strangest idea you've heard pitched backstage?
Oh man, the strangest idea that I've ever heard backstage. Thankfully there's not a whole lot of bad ideas that I've heard. There have been some good ideas that just never went into fruition. But I think the weirdest one that I've heard was so there was this group, right? There was a faction, and there was this one wrestler who I don't know who he came up to, but I overheard him because I was just stretching in the ring and I was just like overhearing conversations, like the good sneaky little bastard that I am. I need to gather my intel. And he was saying like, so there was like 3 members in this faction, right? 3 members, and the guy was like, hey, I have like a cool storyline to pitch. I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. Like, let me see if they're going anywhere that would be like, oh, okay, let me like add my little like 2 cents. But after hearing the pitch, I was like, yeah, just not even gonna say anything because that, ooh, my friend, that didn't make sense. Because the idea was that this faction was gonna gang up on like this one guy, right? And it was gonna build up to like the one guy facing each member of the faction.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that seems like pretty solid story.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. But here's where I was like, I don't know if that's gonna make a lot of sense because he said like, okay, I'm gonna beat you first. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And I'm gonna beat you. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I'm gonna beat the leader. And I was like, okay. But in that match, we put that if I lose, I'll join you guys. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, okay.
But then I win, but I still join you guys. I was like, hold up. Why would you want to join a faction that you just entirely
beat every member of?
Like, beat the shit out of all of them.
Like, what? How does that make sense? He was like, no, trust me, guys, it's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. And I was like, and then it was funny because they just kind of like looked at him like, oh, okay, we'll think about it, and then was just never spoken of again. But it was a weird thing to pitch because like I don't mind people joining the faction, but like it has to be a reason for it. It just can't be like, oh well, I guess I beat you guys, so I'm joining the faction now.
Like, I mean, if he becomes the leader, maybe that makes sense. Or if he's like a heel already and it's a heel faction, maybe. But if it's like a face and you beat up a heel faction, what?
And it's like, I'm here now. It's like,
I'm here. I'm your friend now. It's like, what?
It's one of those like swerves that's just like a swerve for the sake of it. For like it's just to be like just a. It's a surprise with like no anything else in the future.
Yeah. I just imagine I'm your friend now. No, you're not. You just beat us all up. What the fuck?
Exactly. I was like, I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, you will see a lot of weird stuff and a lot of like weird pitches in El Paso, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
So besides PWL, how's like the whole wrestling scene in El Paso, in like near and around El Paso,
Oof. Okay. I hope I don't piss anyone off, but I'll probably will. In my very humble opinion, I think that Legacy is the one that's the most consistent and the better show overall. Mainly because there are other promotions in El Paso that just book matches just to book them,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not really a story element into it. And I think that's what separates us. The moment that we have, three stages of hell, a no DQ match, a street fight, it's not just because like, oh, we need to sell tickets and we need that match. It's slowly pacing ourselves like, okay, we had a normal match. Now we have this match with interference. Now let's put the Extreme Rules match. There you go. There's a story there. And a lot of these promotions, they want to sell tickets and they're just like, oh, okay, let's start this like feud that has no history, no backstory, and let's put them in a dog collar match or let's put them in a last man standing match. And like, yeah, they're cool, but I think Brock said this best. Like, you can do all the spots that you want in the world, you can do all the moves in the world, but if the people don't know who you are, if the people don't know who the character is, there's not going to be a lot of interest by the fans, and that's how I live by in the sense of my own Marty Snow. I don't want just a random match telling me like, oh, you're gonna be in a I Quit match, and you're gonna go against this guy that no one's ever heard of, and you've never had any interactions with. I would much rather just have like slow build, normal match, and build that story from there. Because a lot of the El Paso, which isn't too bad. I mean, there's not a whole lot of like companies that do that, but it's either that or they bring stars from other places. And just considering how much talent there is in El Paso,
And
I
just in
think
Texas in general, there's a ton of wrestlers that are just
yeah,
amazing
exactly.
from Texas, like Alley Catch,
Yeah,
Thunder Rosa, all from
there you
Texas.
go. There you go. I think that it would be better in our interest to just like start building our own stars because as much as people hate me here like saying this, like there's gonna be a point where like the wrestling business just moves on without you. So it's very weird for me for all these promoters to like rely on the star power of someone else when they can like start building the stars of the future. That way when like X person retires, you're not just like, oh well, I guess there goes my star. Like I have five other stars here from the lot that I can pick up, and they're all homegrown. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that lacks a lot in El Paso, and that's why Legacy is probably the better promotion. And there's more to it than just here are our wrestlers, and this is like the flippy stuff that they can do.
Mm-hmm. I like that because it's like the thing that makes I feel like the thing that makes an I Quit match or like a dog collar match or something like that good is there's the story that goes into it, right? It's like why it's like how did these two get to this point, right? Like how did these two people get to this point to where they want to kill each other this bad?
Exactly.
And I feel like if you just kind of do it, it's like okay, but why? Like why are
Yeah.
we here? Why are we getting this extreme?
We've watched a lot of matches like dog collar matches out of the blue, and the best ones are like Mikey said, obviously the ones that have the story. But whenever we get like a one that's just
Like
it's just a
recently,
piece.
MJF CM Punk. Like, why was that a
Mhm.
dog collar match? Because those two hate
Yeah.
each
And there
other.
was some other place I can't remember the name of it. It might have been Local Wrestling, but I might be wrong. They had a dog collar match. I remember thinking to myself, you didn't need the dog collar for this match. This could have
Yeah.
just been a hardcore match, and you could have been fine with it.
Yeah.
And it was like I said, it's missing that personal feeling to it, like that story to it that really gives it the extra oomph it needs to be great.
Yeah.
It and another example, it's like why is Britt Baker Thunder Rosa in a steel cage? It's like because they hate each other. They want to keep
There you go.
out Hater and Rebel. Like there's always a reason for the match, right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm with you in terms of the fact I hate when they just throw together matches and throw in a random and throw in like it's like they spin a wheel of stipulations that are like and that one like no
Yeah,
thank
there
you
you go.
like
Yeah. I also am very much a fan of the view of homegrown talent. I think that a lot of companies would do a lot better if they just grew up their own talent, made their own stars. Like you said, build up a roster. That way the seeds can come to fruition, and they won't be handicapped if one person just leaves.
Mhm.
which I understand promotions and like
Mm-hmm.
the business aspect. Like, I don't know if these guys are gonna be stars, but like, man, just give them the ball at one point, and like, I promise you that they'll deliver. In Legacy alone, we have Cosmo. You know, at the beginning he wasn't doing much, and they give him the ball, and like God, he's the biggest superstar that we have. Jimo Kaminari is also another guy that's up there.
Mhm.
Just give the guys the ball. If they fail, they fail. But like, what if
Just
they
give them
don't?
a chance.
Give them that chance, and you'll be surprised what they can do when you're like, hey, this is your do or die moment. Like, let's see what you have in store, and yeah, it can be a lot of good stuff from there.
I agree, obviously.
Yeah, me too. It's really cool to see everyone in PWL like being able to do their thing and make what they want out of themselves.
Towards the end of our questions here, I'd like to add, this is the question that I was actually curious about. What advice would you give someone trying to get into the wrestling scene in general?
Oh man, oof. I as much as I am cocky and arrogant in my character, I'm still very I would like to call myself a little bit humble and say that I'm not there in that position to be like super wise about the wrestling business and whatnot. But I'm just going to repeat what I've heard a lot of people tell me, a lot of people just express to me, right? And it's just to just keep working on it. At first it's gonna be frustrating. We at Legacy we had it a bit easier, I would like to say, compared to other people that will probably start because we were thrown into matches probably like in 4 or 5 months into training,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was normal. I thought it was like, yeah, okay, 4 or 5 months, that seems like pretty good enough time. And then I come to realize that a lot of people like debut into like 1 year of training, and like yeah. So I think that we had like a lot more faster, a lot faster, with just those 4 or 5 months of training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just keep true to yourself. You're gonna hear a lot of people talk, and you're gonna feel like a lot of people care about you, but then they slowly start like going away, going away, going away, and you'll realize who's truly there for you. There's a lot, and this it saddens me to say, but there's a lot of drama. Too much drama sometimes. Like I don't even know how it starts, but there is.
In wrestling, no.
No.
That's what I would. That's what I thought. I thought like, drama's not gonna exist. I'm pretty sure it's just like only in the big leagues, but no, even in the small leagues, it's there's so much drama. Sometimes some wrestlers can be such divas. We have wrestlers who are like vets, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna drop the title to this person just because I'm going on to bigger and better things. And it's like, well, if you're going on to bigger things, like
Put someone over on your way
put
out.
someone over out. Like, yeah, so man, that just pisses me off. But just look for someone that's gonna be able to train you, because anyone can put up a wrestling school, anybody. But you need to know who's training you. Because you can have a random guy who just gets a ring and says, hey, come train with me, but doesn't have that much experience. I am fortunate enough to have the facility at Legacy. We have Crazy Star as a trainer, we have Aiden Cold as a trainer, and we have Hurricane Hector as a trainer. So there's a variety. We have lucha there, we have the American style. So it's a variety of what you want to learn, and you can learn a perspective of each coach, because all those three guys are completely different. They all three have some things in common, but there's a lot of difference in how they think wrestling should be, and that's good because wrestling isn't just one way. And I hate when people are like, "Oh, wrestling should just be this way. Wrestling should just be that way." I think wrestling has that capability of being whatever it needs to be. And I feel that's why there's a lot of like debate into the old school and new school.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some good things about the old school. There's some really bad things about the old school. There's some good things about the new school. There's some really bad things about the new school.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to like see what fits better. And as a person who likes the stories more, I always, of course, wrestling training is important, But I always do tell the people who train with me, and if they ask me advice, I always tell them to start thinking about who they are. Because if they don't know who they are, the audience isn't going to care. And if they don't know who they are, it's going to be a lot harder to come up with a move set. It's going to be a lot harder to try to come up with stories. So knowing who that person is in the bat, you can start thinking like, oh, okay, I can probably work with this guy. We can probably do this storyline. We could probably work like this. And that's just a very little advice that I can give. Just stay true to yourself. Try to see who you are in the business, and just try to respect everyone. There's no need to tell people that they suck for no reason. If you're not gonna help them out in a productive way, just stay quiet. If you're not gonna do anything that's gonna help them to be better, then just don't say anything.
Yeah, the old if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right?
There you go.
I'm just laughing at Dave. You walk, someone's in the ring. How was the match? You suck.
They're terrible. Anyway, you made a point in there where wrestling can be like a lot of there's a lot of different ways wrestling can be, and I just wanted to expand on that and say that it always drives me nuts when people are like, oh, I don't really like wrestling, and it's like, you don't like wrestling because you haven't found you haven't found your niche yet. Like, there's so many like if you like ultra violence, you have death matches. If you like classic matches, you got like one-on-one matches. If you want something sillier, you have comedy matches. There's just so many different. If you want like crazy spots, there's lucha, and it's just there's so many different forms of wrestling. It's just being like, oh, I don't like wrestling. It's like,
yeah.
But you haven't seen it all. Like, you don't know. Like, you haven't found your brand. You haven't found your niche yet.
Yeah,
exactly. No, yeah, and it happens a lot. I have my friends who don't watch wrestling that much. I remember one day I was watching. It was a Bret Hart match. I just don't remember which one. But Bret Hart just worked more like slowly. He was more technical and all that. And one of my friends was like, "I don't get it. Like, I don't know why you like wrestling. Like, this is boring." And I was like, "All right, bro. Like, chill. Like, let me put a match. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it." And I went like very basic with him. I went Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! Like, oh, how did they do these flips? Oh my god, are they actually like kicking each other in the face?" I'm like, "Yeah, there you go, buddy. There you go.
Yeah, you just gotta find your spot."
And a wrestling fan was born.
You just gotta find your lane, dude.
Exactly.
That's my favorite part about wrestling is when someone just like sits down and like watches a match for the first time and is like, "That was awesome." That I think that's all of our questions for today. I know, Marty, we gave you a little bit of a heads up last night for this. We would like you to give us a match suggestion for next week's episode that we can watch.
Oh man, the moment that you guys told me like just one match, my brain just like melted.
Any indie wrestling match.
Oh man, there are so many good matches, but I'm gonna go very, very basic, and I'm gonna go to a match that I really like a lot because it introduced me to one of my favorite wrestlers. And I hope you guys didn't review it. I was seeing the episodes, and I don't think you guys reviewed it yet. So if you have a second option, but the match that I'm gonna recommend is Kyle O'Reilly versus Mike Bailey in the Pro Wrestling World Cup Canada second round. It's by WCPW, renamed Defiant. But that match, oh my god, I love watching that match. It's so creative, it's so good, and it introduced me and made me into a fan of Mike Bailey, who I really want to wrestle. So if he also listens to that, I'm waiting on that match. But yeah, I'm gonna recommend that match.
That's awesome because we love Mike Bailey over here. We're giant Mike Bailey fans, and I'm a big Kyle O'Reilly fan. I thought Cool Kyle was so funny from NXT. I love Redragon. I love air guitar playing Undisputed Era Kyle O'Reilly. So Kyle O'Reilly and Mike Bailey have been two of my favorites. So I'm very excited that you suggested this match. And I loved Mike Bailey ever since I saw his match with Walter at Riptide. That match is insane, that match.
a good match.
We have a theory over here. Mike Bailey cannot have a bad match. He has not had anything below a mark out or a high man.
Every Mike Bailey match we've seen has just been absolutely insane.
I'm telling you, I'm surprised that Mike Bailey has not been brought up in more conversations. Like, hands down. And I'm going to steal a phrase from Cosmo here. Mike Bailey is the wrestler of the year so far. Like, that man literally went out and has had great match after great match this year. He's just so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just so good.
I guess like getting banned from the country for a while.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what happened.
Didn't help
there.
him.
But yeah, even when he was still doing amazing wrestling. Like
Australian stuff, I think Australian pro wrestling. That seems great too. You know, he's in the US. I really need to see him like live in person one day.
Yeah.
I
just need to wrestle him. That's all.
I saw that list on your Twitter of things you want to do, and I was like, I respect the ambitions.
Yeah. Some of those names, I had to think about it because some of those names are like really realistic, and it's like, yeah, this can happen. But there's like some names I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen, but hey, like, you know, maybe they'll see it and they'll be like, yeah, okay, we can wrestle. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, why not? Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to at Mike Bailey in this one and be like,
thank goodness.
Please wrestle this man.
Yeah, yes. We'll make sure to get the challenge out there also.
Right? Yeah, we get more fan people bothering Mike Bailey. Maybe we'll get the match.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about does it for this podcast episode. That's everything we wanted to ask. So Marty, what do you got coming up? What should the people look out for? What do you got? Any plugs?
Yes, we have a lot of plugs, kind of. There's gonna be the Table Fiesta show. You guys should go watch it. It's gonna be on YouTube. Anyone who's in El Paso, go watch it. My member of Inglorious Bastards, Midas, is gonna be competing in the Fatal 4-Way for the Lone Star Championship. And then we have a very huge opportunity. Let me get the date right, because if I get it wrong, I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for it. But on April 29th, myself and Cosmo Ryan are gonna head to Las Vegas, and we're gonna be in our debut matches for Delgado Promotions. It's gonna be in the Silver Nugget, and we have a very, very important superstar coming into that show as well, in the name of Matt Cardona. So if you guys not want to watch us and just want to watch Matt Cardona, come April 29th at Delgado Promotions. Follow them on Instagram as well. They're such a good company. And we're going to be in Vegas for a while at April 29th at 7 p.m. So if you guys have that chance to come, more than welcome.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Cool. Very, very cool. Any plugs, like any social media?
Yes, please, if you guys can and want to bother me, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Not Marty Snow. I have a YouTube also.
That's misleading.
Right? And the funny thing is that I got it from one of my favorite YouTubers. Mm-hmm. You see, I just copy a lot of people. I just grab like what I like. And I'm like, okay, I can use this. Mm-hmm. But yeah, also my YouTube, Marty Snow. I just post my matches there. I have, I think, my match with Jay Wilson, match with Johnny Law, my triple threat match with Sin and Gmo. That was a really good match. So yeah, just follow my Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Marty, for being on the show. We really, really appreciate you coming on. We'd love to have you again sometime.
Oh yeah, man. I enjoyed this so much. It was so fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. We did as well. We had a blast.
Sir.
So that's about it for this episode of Independent Waters. Thank you all for listening. And we will see you next week with a match that we are reviewing from Marty Snow himself.
I hope it's a mark out. I hope.
Zach, that was a fun little interview with Marty Snow, huh?
Mm-hmm. The bastard was a very chill person to talk with, apparently.
Yeah, he was super fun, super cool, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that conversation we had.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for whoever was in the ring with him next time, though, because he's probably going to beat the shit out of them worse than usual.
Yeah. He's got to prove a point. But yeah, so of course that was that interview, and now it's time for the plugs as we usually do. So remember to give us a follow over on Twitter at Indie Waters, or you can follow the Countout Network on Twitter at CountOutPod. You can also find us on our website. If you go to countoutpod.com, you can find everything about this show, everything about all the other shows in the Countout Network, and you can find our first ever Independent Waters t-shirt over on countoutpod.com/store. Go get you one. It is an awesome t-shirt. There's still a few, again, as of recording this, there's still a few spots left for that special $15 deal. After that, it'll go up to $25. So if you want to get the shirt cheaper, you should get on that now if they're still available. And you can go like the Countout Network on Facebook, Count Out a Wrestling Podcast Network, and you can support us. If you really like the Countout Network and you want to support us, you can go to countoutpod.com/membership and sign up for a $5 a month membership, where you can get access to a bunch of different exclusive audios from all of us here at the Countout Network. And you can, if you would be so kind to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome as well. You should go listen to all the other shows here on the Countout Network. We have Pure, we have How to Talk to Your Friend About Wrestling, Your Dose of Death, a new show, Okada Shorts, which is a New Japan show, Ring Post Radio. We have so much Happy Hour every Thursday. We have so much content here on the Countout Network. You should go check out all of it. If you want to go see our live streams, go follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/countout. And you can also go subscribe to us on YouTube at Count Out a Wrestling Podcast Network. Zach, you got anything to plug?
Nope, but I never do.
As usual. So that just leaves us with one thing left to say, and that is to remember that there's a gigantic sea of independent wrestling out there.
So never stop exploring.
This has been a Countout Podcast.
Hey, this is Sean Taggart, and I want to tell you about the podcast that I do here on the Countout Podcast Network, Pure, a Ring of Honor Wrestling retrospective podcast, where I dive into the deep history of Ring of Honor and talk about the shows, the hits, the misses, the memories that Ring of Honor gave you during the time periods between 2002 and 2021, and maybe more to come. You can catch me out every other Monday on the Countout Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts.